All right, now I want to talk about some potential upsets. Now, last week I did the upset video. I talked about 6 games in that video that I thought we might potentially could see some upsets. Out of those 6 games that I talked about, 4 of those 6 covered the underdog covered the spread. 2 of those 6 were outright winners. So we had 2 upsets out of the 6 sort of watch out for these upsets type video that I did last week. The 2 upsets were Illinois beating Southern Cal and Virginia beating Florida State. In addition to that, Mississippi State covered the spread against Tennessee, and TCU covered the spread against Arizona State. So again, 4 of the 6 underdogs covered the spread. 2 of them won outright. I've got 3 games I want to talk about today for the week 6 matchups coming up this weekend for some potential upsets, and by kind of a rare, well, it's a coincidence really, they're all 3:30 games, but these are ones I think to keep an eye on this week for potential upsets. I'm going to talk about all 3 of these games in today's video. Texas on the road at Florida, Vandy on the road at Alabama, and Virginia on the road at Louisville. I'm going to talk about all 3 of those games. Shout out to Arena Club, y'all. Y'all need to check this out. I had a lot of fun working with the people over at Arena Club. It's a well, I'm gonna roll it here in a second. You guys need to check this out. I'm 47 years old. I grew up in the age of like baseball card shops and things like that, which are long gone now. And card collecting has changed. It's modernized, and Arena Club is knocking it out of the park. You guys need to check them out. How many of y'all used to collect baseball cards when you were little? I'm guilty as charged. I got to raise my hand. Some of y'all have heard me tell this story before, but when I was little, my grandfather owned a what we used to call a baseball card shop here in town. Now, they're hard to even find these anymore. Everything seems to be done online now. But when I was a kid, my grandfather owned a baseball card shop. And if you're my age or older, you remember the good old days of that. Some of my best memories as a kid are spending the weekends or summer times in that card shop, opening up packs of cards, right? You wanted your favorite player, or there was some card that you thought was worth some amount of money or whatever, and you hoped you would pull that card out of the pack. I mean, just great memories. And like a lot of people my age or older, I'm sure I've got shoe boxes full of baseball cards lost away in an attic somewhere that in my mind would make me a millionaire if I was able to find them or whatever. Well, times have changed. Card collecting, it's still a thing. People still do it. But times have changed. This video is sponsored by Arena Club, and y'all really need to check this out. This is a lot of fun. I haven't been this excited about something in a long time. It really does. It makes you feel like you're 10 years old again. Check out arenaclub.com/Lou. Use promo code Lou for the discount that we'll talk about in a second. But you guys are going to like this. All right, here we go. I'm over here on arenaclub.com/Lou, so you can see what it looks like here. But if you're looking to buy, sell, trade, or rip packs, Arena Club is changing the game with their original slab packs and no-fee auctions. So whether you're chasing grails or flipping slabs, Arena Club makes it easy to collect the cards that you love. You're going to get authentic graded cards instantly on Arena Club. You decide. You want to hold them, you want to sell them, you want to have it shipped directly to you. You can also decide to take an instant cash offer based on market value. One click, cash in, no guesswork. They'll buy it right back from you. With slab packs, you can rip a wide range of packs starting at $25 and up. Every pack has grails that are worth at least 20 times the price of the pack. Arena Club's the most trusted name in the game. They offer full transparency, showing every card available in the pack before you buy it. Once you open a pack, you're going to get the excitement of seeing what you pulled instantly. Each slab's added to your showroom immediately and available immediately for listing in an auction, trading, or simply showcasing. With every slab pack, Arena Club will make you an instant offer for your card based on its market value. That's right. No guessing, no waiting. You'll get an instant offer for an estimated fair market value. Accepted on the spot, simple, fast, risk-free. From your digital showroom, you can trade, sell, auction, or even retrieve your physical card in the mail from the Arena Club vault. The packs are digital, the cards are real. You're going to get the best value for your money with the Slab Packs transparent checklist and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. So whether you're buying, selling, trading, grading, or just ripping packs, Arena Club's the safest, most trusted name in the game. And don't forget, be on the lookout for at least 2 specialty drops a week. Specialty drops are normally 24 hours only, so make sure you follow them so you're in the loop. I'm not going to lie, this is a lot of fun, y'all. I've been using it. You should too. I'm getting ready to open one now. All right, now it's time for the fun part. I'm going to open one of these now. I've been looking through them here. So they have all the sports. Well, first of all, there's different price points that you choose from here. And then they've got all the sports. They've got baseball, basketball, football, Pokemon. I'm going to say no on the Pokemon deal. I'm going to go with football. I'm going to open this. I'm going to do a Ruby pack football. So I don't know. Let's see what we get here. I'm pretty excited. I feel like I'm 8 years old again. I might have to blur some of this out on the screen or block it off so you don't see my information or whatever. But we're gonna buy one of these. Yes, confirm. Okay, yeah. This I have to block out while I enter my info in. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. I bought the pack. All right, I bought a Ruby football pack. So now there's only gonna be one card in here. But again, it's not like when we were kids and you physically opened a pack and it had 20 terrible cards in there and you hoped you got one that you wanted or one that was good or whatever. You're guaranteed to get something good here. It's gonna already be graded, the whole deal. So here we go. I'm going to open a pack. Come on, Lou. Let's get something here. Here we go. Open slab pack. Come on, man. Come on, man. Give me something good. Who is that? Oh, A-Chain. Hey, running back from Texas A&M. Let's go. Let's go. Devon A-Chain. Okay, then. Okay. There we go. Oh, man. There you go. Devon A-Chain, great running back for Texas A&M. Kind of wasting away now with the Miami Dolphins. Turns out they're not very good this year. But that's not A-Chain's fault. But that is a lot of fun. You guys be sure and check it out. arenaclub.com/Lou. Use promo code Lou to get that discount. And have yourself some fun ripping these packs. Yeah, I had a really good time with that. Check them out, arenaclub.com/Lou. You can use the promo code LOU, and they're going to give you 20% off. It is a lot of fun, y'all. I think I'm hooked. But let's talk about these potential upsets. I want to start with Texas on the road at Florida. Now, every preseason, usually starting in the beginning of June and going through July, I do a series of prediction videos, and I go through, I don't know, between 30 and 50 teams. It varies from year to year. And I go game by game, and I predict not only that team's record, but if they're going to lose games, I give my prediction on who I think those losses will come to. One of the more controversial picks I had this preseason when I was doing those game-by-game prediction videos was my prediction that Texas was going to lose on the road at Florida. I was not high on Florida. I think I had them at 7-5. It turns out they're probably not even going to get to 7-5. But one of the 7 wins I had Florida getting was this game this week on the road. Or one of the losses, one of the wins I had Florida getting was against Texas this week in Gainesville. Now, Florida ends up being a little bit worse than I thought, particularly offensively, and DJ Lagway struggling. But Texas hasn't been as good as I thought. They've struggled. So am I going to change my mind here on this game now that we're, 4 or 5 weeks into the season? It's time to actually play the game. Do I still believe my preseason prediction of Florida upsetting Texas? Yes. I think Florida wins this game. This is a huge upset alert, flashing red light special here for the Texas Longhorns. They have not looked good this season. They did play okay against Sam Houston State. That's Sam Houston State. The other opponents, they really struggled offensively. Everyone watched the Ohio State game that they lost 14-7. A couple of weeks later, they played UTEP, and they only won 27-10. That was the game where Arch Manning had, I think, 10 straight incomplete passes. He was getting booed by his home crowd. Now, they came out the following week, 2 weeks ago, because Texas was off last week and played Sam Houston State, and they looked pretty good, but Sam Houston State is winless. They're terrible. Now, they got to go on the road and play Florida, and guess who Texas plays next week? They play Florida this weekend. Guess who they play next? Oklahoma. Does this sound familiar? This is the same or a similar situation to what Florida State was in this past week when they had to travel and play at Virginia. Now, Florida State had to travel during the week and play a Friday game, which is more difficult for all the reasons I talked about last week in the Florida State video. But still, you've got Texas, a ranked team, going on the road to Florida, who is basically in desperation mode. It feels like the Texas game is the Alamo for Billy Napier. It's what it feels like to me. It's completely possible that Texas goes in there and wins this game by 3 or 4 touchdowns, and there's just it's a no effort type situation from Florida. He's lost the team, the players have given up, and he gets fired the next day. That's a possibility every week from here on out with Florida. It's also possible that we see a scenario similar to what we saw last year with Florida, where they're not a very good team. They lose a bunch of games. No one likes Billy Napier, but they get a couple of wins over ranked teams that you look around and you go, how the hell did they win that game? You know, the Ole Miss game last year, the LSU game last year. And Florida has played really good defensively this year. You say what you want about their coach, the play of DJ Lagway, their struggles on offense, all of that's fair game. Their defense has played well enough to win every single game they've played. They gave up no touchdowns to Long Island. They gave up 1 touchdown to South Florida. They gave up 1 offensive touchdown to LSU, and they gave up basically 2 touchdowns to Miami. The offense has really let them down. I'm going to stick with my preseason prediction here. I'm going to go with Florida. I have a feeling that they win this game at home, and even if they don't, I think they can keep it close and cover the spread, which is right around a touchdown. I'll pull it up here. They're favored by 6.5 or 7, depending on where you look. Texas is. I think Florida can keep this thing close. Arch Manning has not looked good. He looks overwhelmed. The game looks too fast for him. He hasn't been comfortable. His throwing motion has been off. He hasn't ran like I thought he would run. They've just had a lot of issues offensively. Now, they've got a really good defense, which could be the death knell for Florida because their offense has been really, really bad. Both of these teams are coming off of a bye week. Another play that now this is a risky one here. The over-under on this game is 41.5. That is extremely low for a college football game. Most NFL over-unders are in the 42 to 44 point range, and NFL tends to be much lower scoring than college football. Most college over-unders are in the 50s, the mid-50s or higher. So 41.5 or 42 points as an over-under here in the Texas-Florida game is extremely low for college football. I get it. Both of these offenses have struggled. I actually like to buck the trend there. I like the over, which sounds weird because it's 2 bad offenses. I like the over, and I like Florida to cover, and I would not be surprised if Florida pulls out the outright upset here. Now, Vandy on the road at Alabama. Now, this was one of the most talked about games of the year last year. Bama beat Georgia. Does that sound familiar? Then they had to play Vandy the next week. Does that sound familiar? And Bama lost. This is where everyone sort of learned the name Diego Pavia. Some people knew of him before that, but this is where Diego Pavia sort of came to the national stage, was after that win against Alabama last season. They went on to give Texas a close game and had a pretty good season. And Vandy right now is undefeated and ranked inside the top 15 in a lot of rankings. They're 16 in the AP, but a lot of people have them closer to the top 10. They've looked extremely impressive. They've blown out everybody they've played, basically. And you can rattle off the list of teams they've played if you want to and tell me they're not any good. They include 2 Power 4 wins. Virginia Tech and South Carolina. But the thing is, this is Vanderbilt that we're talking about here. This is a team that's been winning 3 and 4 games a year forever, outside of a couple of years with James Franklin 15 years ago. But so it almost doesn't, like who they played is irrelevant because it's Vanderbilt. They're 5-0. Like that just doesn't happen at Vandy. But last year they played them in Vanderbilt. It was kind of a surprise attack. Vanderbilt knew how good they were, right? But it was I don't want to say Alabama wasn't taking the game seriously or overlooked them because that's degrading kind of to Vandy, but that's kind of what happened. And Alabama went in there and got slapped around by Vandy and Diego Pavia. Now, they had their struggles on the road last year. Alabama did. That was very well documented. They're at home, but they are coming off a big win on the road against Georgia. And this is a sneaky spot here again, I think, for Vandy to go in there and potentially make this game close. Now, Alabama's favored by over 10 points in this game. It's about 10.5 most places. I think Vandy can hang in this game. Bama has shown some difficulty defending running quarterbacks. Diego Pavia is one of those type of quarterbacks that can make those kind of highlight reel style plays with his legs. He loves to scramble and throw on the run, which can be hard for a defense to defend because those sort of intermediate secondary guys have to sort of commit to sort of, do I come up to try to stop Pavia on the run or do I sit back and wait for him to throw it? It puts the defenders in a tough spot there. And Bama has struggled with running quarterbacks at times. Tommy Castellanos comes to mind at Florida State earlier in the year. I find it hard to believe. I'm 47 years old, and I know that what happened last year has nothing to do with what happens this year. Never mind 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. It is hard. I'm going to admit it's hard for me to wrap my mind around the idea that we even have to think about the Vanderbilt-Alabama game. It's just, it's hard for me to fathom that we're in a world in college football where you have to legitimately consider whether or not Alabama can beat Vanderbilt by more than 10. But I do think you have to legitimately consider the idea that Vandy can keep this game close. And the thing about Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia, if they're close in the fourth quarter, things tend to go their way lately. I find it hard to believe that Alabama's going to lose this game at home to Vanderbilt, given the fact that they lost to them last year. I'm sure Vandy and Diego Pavia will get Alabama's full attention this year. But this is worth keeping an eye on, and I do think Vandy can keep it within that 10.5. The third game is going to be Virginia on the road at Louisville. Louisville's favored by 6.5. They're still undefeated. I've watched Louisville a couple of times this year. I haven't watched every game, and the first time I watched Virginia was this past weekend. So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on everything Virginia and Louisville related. However, the times that I have watched Louisville, they have not looked as good as I thought they would be this season. I was extremely high on Louisville in the offseason. Considered them a serious contender to win the ACC, had them ranked inside my top 20 in the preseason. To me, they haven't played like a top 20 team. Now, maybe this is the game that they show that. I think this is their toughest game yet. And Virginia, who looked pretty good last Friday night, has had one extra day of preparation because the game was on Friday. But that was a huge win for them. And a lot of times teams suffer sort of a hangover effect the following week, especially if they have to go on the road, which they do. This game's at Louisville. But Louisville's favored by a touchdown here. I think Virginia can keep this game close. I was impressed with their ability to run the ball and keep Florida State's offense off the field last week. If they're able to do that successfully again this week against Louisville, then I think they can keep this game close into the fourth quarter. And if they do that, I like Virginia's chances to stay within the 7 points. It sounds odd to say, and I can't believe I'm going to say it, but of these 3 games, I think Florida probably has the best chance to pull the outright upset. They're at home. They're on a bye week. It feels like the sort of last chance, the last grasp for Billy Napier, sort of throw everything at this game. Whereas the Vandy-Alabama game, Alabama lost that game last year, so there's a revenge factor at work there, and it's, at home for Bama. And the same thing for Louisville. They're at home. Upsets you tend to get upset on the road more so than at home. I think Florida probably has the best chance of pulling the outright upset, but I think all 3 of those games are worth keeping an eye on. And I like all 3 underdogs plus the points from a betting angle in those 3 games. What games this week do you guys think might be some of the upsets? That's the thing about college football. We know we're going to see upsets every week. That's the easy part. The hard part is trying to figure out, okay, which games are they going to happen in? So I don't know. I think these are 3 potential upset alert games here. I like Florida to pull the outright upset. I like Vandy and Virginia to keep it close against Alabama and Louisville, respectively. All right, let me know down below what you think. Check out arenaclub.com/Lou and use promo code Lou, L-O-U, for 20% off. Look, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll like it, especially if you're into the card collecting, or it was something maybe you did when you were a kid and you haven't got back into it sort of as an adult in sort of the new age of card collecting. I really think you'll enjoy it. Check them out, arenaclub.com/Lou. All right, I appreciate you watching. Have a good morning.